Tony Dow, best known for his role as Wally Cleaver on the classic television series Leave It to Beaver, was widely respected and admired by fans for his kind demeanor and wholesome image. However, behind the scenes of that beloved show and beyond, not every relationship was as smooth as it appeared on screen. In fact, it's now become more apparent that there was real tension between Tony Dow and a certain co-star, someone who, for years, carried a quiet resentment that puzzled those close to the production. At first glance, the animosity seemed out of place. Tony Dow was, by all accounts, a professional, a gentle personality, and someone who tried to avoid conflict. But once more details came to light, it became clearer why the dislike was so strong and why it lasted for so many years. The tension reportedly stemmed not from anything Tony did with bad intentions, but rather from what he represented. Tony's natural charisma, presence, and ability to connect with audiences made him a standout figure on Leave It to Beaver, and it didn't take long for him to become a fan favorite. Unfortunately, this caused jealousy and quiet resentment to build in some of those around him, especially among co-stars who may have felt overshadowed by his popularity, as Tony's character received more attention and praise. Another actor on set reportedly felt pushed into the background, struggling with the feeling that their own contributions were being overlooked. This growing frustration, combined with a lack of clear communication and unresolved emotional tension, eventually turned into personal dislike. What's even more revealing is that this animosity persisted long after the cameras stopped rolling. Years later, during reunion shows and public appearances, subtle signs of discomfort between Tony Dow and this individual could still be detected: awkward interactions, minimal engagement, and carefully avoided topics in interviews. Fans who once assumed the entire cast remained lifelong friends were surprised to learn of this rift. But when you look deeper, the reason becomes more understandable. In any professional environment, particularly in the entertainment industry, where public perception and personal ego often collide, it's easy for envy and misunderstanding to cloud judgment. Tony's rising fame wasn't something he actively sought at the expense of others, but the impact it had on those around him was very real. Despite the tension, Tony Dow remained respectful and chose not to engage in public drama. He continued to carry himself with grace, even when faced with unspoken resentment. Over time, some fans hoped for reconciliation, but the emotional distance had been in place for so long that any attempt at mending the relationship seemed unlikely. Now that the full story has come out, it's easier to see why this individual truly despised Tony Dow, not because of who he was as a person, but because of how his success unintentionally stirred deep insecurities in others. It's a story that reminds us that even in the world of classic television, human emotions like envy and pride can leave a lasting impact.